Bill Roedy is the former chairman and chief executive of MTV Networks International. He's got a new book out called What Makes Business Rock. Mr. Roedy, thanks so much for being with us. It's a fascinating book, and when you read the book, you find out that you were not just in television at MTV, but you also were a cable guy who literally put cable into apartment buildings at HBO, and before that, you were a NATO commander of a nuclear submarine base. So with that kind of experience, this divergent spectrum of experience, tell us what makes business rock.
Well, you're right. I've been happy and privileged to do it all. Thank you, Pauline. And we're almost as big as CNN. My gosh. Well, it didn't come easy. It's a 23-year ride, and the interesting thing, in less than 220 pages, you'll see all my mistakes, and hopefully learn how to really develop and grow a global business from scratch, navigating the maze of 175 countries, and with an entrepreneurial spirit, which is really, really important, never accepting no for an answer. But the key theme for us is balancing that entrepreneurial can-do spirit with respecting and reflecting local cultures. And that's been the whole thing that we've tried to do more than anything else, because the world is made up of many, many different points of view and cultures, and it's not just one. So rather than import programming in, we have actually exported out from all the countries that we're in. And that's really the main theme. It's also a ride with celebrities and heads of state. It shows the evolution and the revolution of television over 20 years, a little bit of history of video music, some social responsibility. So if you want to build a global business, read this book.
And things have changed since you first started rolling out cable for cable television. Now we've got social media, we've got newspapers changing their business models, going more towards the web. We've got so many different channels. So if you are a business in this huge field of competition, how do you differentiate yourself?
Well, the future of television, it's the number one question, and we've seen this amazing cataclysmic transformation of first the recorded music business, but also print. And it's very interesting about television, and because have been MTV, I'm of course no longer with MTV, but while I was with MTV, it was very much a holistic approach. It wasn't just television. We were very early on to digital revolution. So you can experience all of the brands, and by the way, it's not just MTV, it's Nickelodeon, comedy, and about 20 different brands. But the idea is to experience it in all the different platforms. That's the only way to go forward, particularly with a young audience. They're going to be with their laptop watching TV, so you do everything integrated. You do programming, advertising, sales, promotion, marketing. It all has to be integrated. And, if you produce good content, you'll be fine in this new world.
Now, you did mention that one of the bedrocks to your mode of doing business is respecting local cultures. And in fact, you say that it's so important to have face-to-face meetings. But now, in this age of video conferencing and doing things in Skype, it's so easy to get deals done sort of remotely. But do you still say face-to-face meetings are extremely important?
I do. I really do. And you're correct to say, the technology and video conferencing, very important. You can't be everywhere at once. But, for me anyway, particularly in Asia, I might add, the relationships are very key. And you got to be on the soil. You have to have your feet on the soil. And by the way, many business people make the mistake of going to airport, conference room, hotel room. You've got to get out and experience the culture to really understand it. And one of the principles I learned from my military is that when you have a crisis, you've got to be on the ground, side by side with your lieutenant or your channel head, if you will, because you have to be the first on the battlefield and last one to leave the battlefield. So it's very important to get on the airplane. I've never had a problem with traveling. If you live in a big city, you always hear, well, you're looking for an apartment with good views and 24-hour service, doorman. On an airplane, you get both. So I've never had a problem with traveling. You have to have your feet on the soil.
Now, you did say in your book that extending the MTV brand to China was actually very complicated. What happened there, and what lessons did you take away?
Well, I like to say there's really no global strategy without China, and the amazing transformation over the last 23 years of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and I might also add the Middle East, means that 20 years ago you could have one country and one product. Well, particularly that one country was the U.S. not any longer. You have to have a global operation. And I think a lot of U.S.-based companies make the mistake of, well, it's U.S. plus international division. It's actually 175 different countries, and each one calls for a different strategy. China, we all know, it is the market that you have to be in and want to be in, and we've been working it really, really hard. But because we're media, you have to be careful. But as long as you respect and reflect, you can navigate your way through the various maze of regulations. We have various offices in China. We've developed a brand. The most important thing we did in China, though, is we worked on the relationships, and we worked with the leaders. We met the president twice, and we've had relationships with all the key television outlets, and we've programmed how Chinese youth want their MTV or Nickelodeon. It hasn't been a foreign import, not importing out, but it's actually reflecting the culture. And we've taken elements from China and used them on MTVs around the world. And I think that's really a key success factor.
Bill Roedy, best of luck on your book, and thank you so much for being with us today on CNN. Bill Roedy, the former chairman and CEO of MTV International, and Luis Carlos, his book is called What Makes Business Rock?